Hello there and welcome back. We are on the 12 by 12 version of sketch number 9. You can see that this has one 4 by 6 photo and then kind of a strip of photos which you could make in the sketch. I've made them 2 by 2, but you can see that here today I'm going to be using an actual photo strip. So it isn't quite as tall as the one in the sketch, but that's totally fine. The sketch has a bunch of layers behind these photos and then some area for embellishment, title, and journaling. And what I'm going to do is use some scraps and some pieces of paper from my stash to complement my photos. Now they're pretty neutral, so I could use mostly any color I wanted, but the main color that you can see, well, you can see this red, but the blue here. And I've been loving the way that blue has been showing up in scrapbooking lines lately, so I've decided to pull some of that blue color, and this is from Maggie Holmes paper from Crate Paper, the Gather collection. And so I think all of these are from Crate Paper. You can tell that I love Crate Paper. But I'm going to use those three photos, or those three papers, I think, as my layers. Maybe in addition to that, I have a little blue strip. I'm thinking of bringing in some lighter blue as well that I might layer in with some of these. So don't forget that this is a jumping off point, and I am going to place layers like this, but I might add additional pieces or make some of them smaller or bigger based on what I have, and that's totally fine and easy to do. The other thing that I'm going to possibly do is, so this is a layout all about how Fridays are me and my bestie's day. I send my kid off to school and then we get to hang out because she doesn't work on Fridays and neither do I. So we just kind of go shopping and do errands, and sometimes we go to the movies, and it is just the funnest day. So I just wanted to document that. So here's our drinks here. She has the best ice in her ice maker. And so she always fills me up a cup. And we did a photo booth this day. And so I just want to talk about how Fridays are so awesome. So I thought that I would use one of the cut files from the class. And I'm thinking of using Loving for part of my title, and I've just cut it out in white. I might end up coloring this, I'm not sure yet. But then I also have a wood veneer piece that says Friday on it, and it is the same lettering because I actually hand lettered these. These are from Freckled Fawn, and thinking of layering these two pieces up together. And right now it looks, you can't really see how it will look. But when you lay them like this, you can see it a little bit better. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to be doing that or if I might be using these for my title, So Much Good. This is another cut file included with the class. I've also pulled a bunch of just random embellishments that I think might work, as well as this pattern paper from Pink Paisley, because this has a bunch of, it's kind of like makeup and purses and stuff, but I think that it kind of has to go along with the whole shopping theme, and so I might cut some of these out to use for embellishment. I've pulled too much stuff, I can already tell you that. I pulled out some heart stickers. I thought this one was perfect. It says It's Friday in blue, so I'm hoping I can use that. And then I also have these from the same collection as this, so if there's pieces on here that I can use instead of having to hand cut these out, I might do that. And then I pulled some new Maggie Holmes Cirque puffy stickers as well. So we'll see what I end up using. I've got a lot pulled out, as you can see here, but I've got a good starting point with the sketch. That's the thing I love about it, is this tells me how to place my base, and then I get to play around with embellishment. And so I will put you on fast forward and walk you through my process here and my decision making, and talk you through all of my process.
So I'm going to start by trimming up my pattern papers for my layers, and I just love this little heart print, and I am going to trim, that's going to be the main part of my layers, or I guess the largest piece of my layers. I'm also going to use this heart paper. So I'm using 2 heart papers because that's how much I love Fridays. And I'm also going to use this blue pattern. And I'm using the blue in moderation because it's so bold and bright. And I find that often for me, I like to use the bold colors as a pop of color rather than the main color. So I'm trying to arrange my photos now to see how it's going to work. And I also want to use this lighter blue pattern just because I feel like it softens it up a little bit. And I really love this color combination. Really, really love it. So I'm going to use that die cut that says loving. I'm pulling out the thing that says it's Friday, and it kind of rests nicely right above the word loving. And so I'm thinking that I want my title to be It's Friday, Loving This. And so I pulled out some old sassafras stickers. They're kind of a reddish glitter, and I am using those for the word this, and I want there to be a period at the end of the word this, so I'm just grabbing one of those. And I thought about also using these stickers. It's the same red color, but they're a little bit too large and not quite the right font. So I like the font of the sassafras stickers. And I like that red color because there's a little bit of red in that photo, but also because it's just a lot darker shade of the coral colors that I have going on there. I decide to make my die cut stand out that I would outline it, and I binge cut files in white cardstock, and then I just alter them to fit what I need. So in this instance, I liked the white, but it needed a little pop, so I just outlined it with my thin black pen. I added that chipboard piece that says yay, that little heart, and I like the idea of playing up the hearts on this layout, and I like the idea that it matches that red word this, and it fits so nicely in that space. So there are some pieces from the Paige Evans collection, I can't remember what the collection's called now, that have shopping-ish items on them. There's a to-do list in the die cuts, and there's that little purse that I put on that's a chipboard piece. I'm going to bring in that yellowy color that's on that to-do list in chipboard, and I really tried hard to add that sock because one of CJ, my best friend, her favorite things to do is shop for socks. She has a little obsession with socks, and so I really, really wanted to include that, but it just doesn't quite fit anywhere. So I'll do another layout about socks and use those, but I thought that would be funny to include, but it didn't quite work. So I ended up moving my photo collage up so that I could move my to-do list. I cut it in half and made it look like it spans the whole width of those photos, but it doesn't. So I could write some things that we do on Fridays on that list, and I wanted the bottom of it to line up with the bottom of the left-hand photo. So I moved my whole photo collage up, and now I'm trying to decide where I can add some of these cute reddish orange stickers from that Pretty Little Studio sticker sheet there. And I want to add some at the top right and at the bottom left. And there's one, that large one in the middle. So that kind of we've got hearts going all along that diagonal. I'm looking at the pattern paper to see if there's anything I want to cut out and add to this that kind of reminds me of shopping, but I don't really find anything, so I decide against it, and I'm playing with some different blue die cuts to see if I want to include them on this layout as well. I can't decide, so I'm going to write down the things that we do on Fridays. I talk about cups of ice, and CJ has the best ice maker in her fridge. I don't know what it is about that ice, but we love it. And going to the movies and going shopping and running errands and going to the candle outlet, which we do often. I have to have my scents for my little warmer, and we have a candle outlet close to us, and they have awesome scents, and the ladies there know us. We go almost every Friday. I'm trying to decide where to put that little chipboard piece. I like the stripes because it mimics the stripes in the bag, and so I'm bound and determined to use that, and I will eventually, but it takes me a while to figure out how. I'm looking through my Maggie Holmes die cuts to see if there's anything that I might want to add to the right hand side of the layout there, and I want just kind of maybe a pop of a darker coral color, or I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking for, but I know when I find it that I'll know. I think about a few things on that sticker sheet, but they're just not quite working for me. And I'm struggling just a little bit to kind of figure out what it is that I want. And I'm sure that we all go through this, right? Where we have our layout, it's coming along, and then we get halted by something. And sometimes I get stopped by the fact that I'm just looking for just the right thing. And oftentimes there's not that just the right thing, right? We have to settle for good enough. And so, but sometimes I have a hard time settling for good enough. So sometimes it takes me longer and sometimes it doesn't. But I found that little ticket sticker that says admit 1, and it says together right below it. So I thought that was kind of weird that it says admit 1. It should say admit 2 or something, but that's okay. I'm going to glue down the word loving. I'm finishing up my title because I know exactly how that's going to go now. I like the way that that was looking. And so I'm just going to adhere those stickers and the chipboard piece that says it's Friday above it. And I love that pop of blue. I'm so happy I was able to use that. It was the perfect sticker for my layout. I love when happy accidents like that happen. Just, something that works just right for you. I wanted a little bit more of that yellow color, so I brought in a flower piece there. And I'm also bringing in that orangey red to the bottom right with a flower piece as well. And those are from the Paige Evans chipboard sheet. I typed my journaling up on my typewriter, and now I'm just cutting it into strips with my little guillotine trimmer there. And I'm going to, in the sketch, it shows the journaling in the space where I'm placing it now. And so I'm trying that first. And what I find is that because of the pattern paper that I chose, it doesn't quite work. So I decide to move it all onto the blue pattern paper down at the bottom. And I have my strips cut so they look kind of like a mosaic tile almost. They are cut in several strips rather than having one long strip that goes across the entire thing. And I really think that's a cool look. I definitely want to try that again. And I'm really happy with the way that the journaling strips ended up working out. So I have my journaling all about what we do on Fridays down there, and I was looking up the date on my phone, as I often do, so that I can stamp that here, and just use some Black Butte ink from Ellie Edwards to stamp that. And I am wanting to replicate that heart, the bold line of that heart. And I'm not sure if I want to outline my whole paper, and so I tested it on some scrap paper before I decided to do it with this bold Sharpie. But I liked the way it looked, and I'm really happy with the way that this outline turns out. I just did a single line, and I really think it helps to bring everything together and make that heart patterned paper feel like it truly belongs. And I'm just roughing up the edges of those patterned papers.
Okay, so as usual, I want to give you a final look at the completed layout and the original sketch. You can see it's very close to the sketch. I added in some pattern paper, which you saw. Now the thing that I switched up a little bit, and this you might have to switch things up too based on what patterns you choose for your layout and what colors you choose. But I ended up deciding, instead of to put the journaling up here, which I was going to do with my journaling strips, that it just blended in too much to this white. Now if this was a solid white cardstock and I had used a pattern for my background, I could have easily written right there. That would have worked really nicely. But because of the choices that I made, I felt like it worked better to make it pop off of the blue down here. And I ended up really liking the way that this is all kind of choppy. And so that ended up working out fine. I did keep my title here, and my embellishments are a little bit different than what is shown on the sketch, just because of how I chose to do my title. Now, there ended up being a space over here, and so I wanted to fill that space. So the title area does have some embellishment next to it, but I also have additional embellishment areas, and so this could maybe not count as one, but I do have one at the top right of the photos here. I have one below the photos just because I ended up splitting this to-do list, and so it made sense for me to add some more things down here. But that kind of takes the place of this one that's at the bottom of the photo here. And then I have this one here, which it takes place of the one next to the title. And so I do still have those same embellishments. 3 different areas, kind of 4 if you count the title, but I moved them a little bit based on what my layout demanded after I had started going on it. I just noticed that this photo is a little bit crooked, so I'm just going to fix it a little. But I'm really happy with the final layout of this, and I hope that you'll try this either in the 12 by 12, or don't forget to check out the 8.5 by 11 and the double page spread versions of these layouts. If you have more photos, definitely check out the double page layout so that you can see ways that you can add even more photos. And then the 8.5 by 11 is a little bit smaller. So I hope that you've enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next sketch.